Hey everybody, this is Darren Van Damme and you're watching Flick Connection, the show that helps you get more out of movies, and today I'm here to tell you about all the best stuff Netflix is adding in April 2020. So here at the end of March 2020, we're almost all under quarantine. As luck would have it, Netflix is adding more stuff than I've ever seen them add. I have 40 recommendations in this episode, which is almost double what I would normally have on one of these monthly episodes. Because of that, I'm going to rapid fire through some of them. That way I can pause and take a little more time talking about some of the ones I'm really excited about. This video is sponsored by CyberGhost VPN, and I'll tell you later on in the video how you can watch more Netflix using their service. But let's start off with all the best stuff they're adding on April 1st. Now, speaking of 40 movies, the first one on the list is 40 Days and 40 Nights because it starts with a number and we're going in alphabetical order. This one's really gonna appeal to a younger crowd. I liked it when I was in college, that's when it came out. But Josh Hartnett plays a guy who just gives up sex for 40 days, and he doesn't just give up having sex with a person, he gives up all forms of it and has to take on these hobbies and stuff. It's a funny sex comedy it basically ends up being a romantic comedy, but it is pretty well done and it's pretty well put together. So if you want to watch a decent rom-com from like the early 2000s, this would be a good way to go. If I am not enough Van Damme for you, Bloodsport is getting added. This is a classic Jean-Claude Van Damme movie. I have actually not seen it in a long time, so I'll be checking it out pretty early on in April. Can't Hardly Wait is another, I don't want to say sex comedy, this is a teen comedy. This one's very much in the vein of like John Hughes movies, things like that. But it was done in the late 90s. This was when I was in high school. So I imagine people around my age probably liked this back when it came out, might enjoy rewatching it. And then my younger viewers, there's not a lot of you, but the ones that are there, check this movie out. It's fun. If you're in high school or in college, or at least all that was fairly recent, I think you can have a lot of fun with this one. Cheech and Chong's Up in Smoke is not just for potheads. It is really good comedy. It's hilarious stuff. Yes, a lot of the jokes are weed based, but you don't even have to be into that in order for them to make sense and in order for them to be funny. Obviously, this is a classic a lot of people have seen, but if you've never seen it, there's a reason it's a classic. It really is very funny.
Oh, what are you doing? Trust me, I know these vents like the back of my Chang.
Oh, holy. Is that a new stereotype?
All 6 seasons of Community is getting added. If you never watch this show, I like it a lot. If you're running out of stuff to binge watch, which you shouldn't be, there's a ton of stuff. I make recommendations every single week on this channel, but if you are, Community is a fun watch. I thoroughly enjoyed it while it was on TV. Man, that sounds outdated to say on TV. The one with the most sexually explicit title on the list is Deep Impact. This one's actually about an asteroid hitting Earth. This came out around the same time as Armageddon. It's not as good as Armageddon. Armageddon's wild and fun and crazy. This one's just sort of straight down the middle. It's not bad, it's not great either. It's honestly somewhat forgettable, but if you want to watch just kind of a classic disaster movie, this would be a good way to go. How to Fix a Drug Scandal is a Netflix original crime docu-series. I have been loving Netflix's crime series. I'll be talking about one from last month at the end of this video when I recap all my favorite stuff that came out in March. But this one, I'll be watching it just because I like everything that they're putting out in this genre right now. Killer Klowns from Outer Space. If you've never seen it, an absolute classic. And no, I did not misspell it on screen. It is Killer Klowns with a K. Absolute classic movie. Hilarious. Makeup, special effects, all cheesy, all 100% entertaining. This is one back when I used to have Halloween parties every year, back before I had kids. I'd put it on the TV on mute, just with the music going and everything, and people would just stop and stare and just wonder what in the hell was going on. Ton of fun. It's always on and off of streaming platforms. It's Netflix's turn. Lethal Weapon 1 through 4 are being added. The first is the best, but all the sequels are unusually close in terms of how good they are, except maybe number 4. I can't really speak on it. I know I've seen it, but I don't really remember it. However, 2 and 3 are great. Minority Report is getting added. I love this movie. Not only is it just a great sci-fi movie from Steven Spielberg, it still looks so good. Believe it or not, this movie is almost 20 years old, and it looks like it was made recently. I love everything about this movie. If you've never seen it, it is absolutely amazing. If it's been a while since you've seen it, trust me, it's good enough that it's gonna be well worth rewatching. One of my favorite movies from the past 10 years is getting added, Mud, starring Matthew McConaughey. I've talked about it on the channel before because it has been on Prime for a while, but I love everything about this movie. This reminds me of Playing in the Woods when I grew up. Matthew McConaughey's character is great. The story is fantastic. Not only is it good, and I highly recommend it for everybody because it's very accessible, except for little kids. It does have violence and language and stuff in it, but it will appeal to a really broad audience. So definitely put this one on your list. This is a strong recommendation from me. In addition to it just being very good and very accessible and enjoyable to watch, it suits my sensibilities almost perfectly. Road to Perdition is getting added. This is directed by Sam Mendes, who's an extremely famous director, look him up, but also stars Tom Hanks. Tom Hanks is pulling through his coronavirus situation, and this is one of his better movies. It's, I don't want to say forgotten about, it's very highly appreciated, but it's not often talked about, and it's just really kind of an amazing gangster movie about a father and son. Fantastic stuff. Salt is one of the last movies Angelina Jolie did where she was kicking everybody's ass, and it's pretty good. It's mildly forgettable, but if you just want to kind of turn your brain off and watch some wild action, Salt is a great one to pick. The Robert Downey Jr. Sherlock Holmes moves from Prime to Netflix. I love this one. It's directed by Guy Ritchie. Not my favorite movie of his, but it is a great Sherlock Holmes adaptation. I love the production design. I love the characters and all the performances. I love everything about this one. I like the sequel too, but I'm really hoping that they round this out and make a full trilogy sometime soon. Taxi Driver gets added back. They do that. There's movies that go and come as they please. Taxi Driver's one of them, an all-time favorite of mine. Taxi Driver's one of the movies that really helped me discover filmmaking and how impactful a director is. It was sort of a next level type of movie for me when I watched it for the first time in college. It's just an amazing performance from Robert De Niro, amazing directing job from Martin Scorsese, and just an incredible script. It's dark, but it's got really great moments in it, and there was a lot that was invented in terms of filmmaking in this movie. It's got a special place in my heart, even though it is very, very dark. The Death of Stalin is a somewhat recent release that I have not seen. I wanted to see it, I almost rented it, and for whatever reason I didn't. It is a satirical comedy about things that would have happened after the death of Stalin politically, and it's got an amazing cast, and it's very interesting looking. It got great reviews as well, so I'll be watching it like the week that it drops. The Girl with All the Gifts is a great zombie outbreak movie that a lot of people have not seen. It's only a few years old. It's based on a book by the same name, and it's, from what I understand, a good adaptation of the book, and I understand that because Mrs. Van Damme read the book, and I did not. The Hangover gets added. If you haven't seen The Hangover by now, I don't know where you've been, but if you need a little bit of comedic relief in your life right now, like we all do, The Hangover could be a great way to go because it is a laugh every couple of minutes in that movie. The entire Matrix Trilogy gets added back. I didn't even know it was gone because I recommended it like, I don't know, 6 months ago, well within a year, but apparently it's been gone, it's coming back. The Players Club gets added, and the reason my voice went up there a little bit is because I've never seen it. This is a 90s classic written and directed by Ice Cube. That's Cube, not T. So another one that I'll be watching the first week of April. The Social Network gets added on April 1st. This is kind of like the Citizen Kane of the 21st century. Not that it's as good as Citizen Kane, even though it is a very good movie directed by David Fincher, but it's got a lot of similar themes, but updated for the age of social media and Mark Zuckerberg. One of the last movies that David Fincher directed. My understanding is he got fed up with the movie industry and he has switched to TV, doing Netflix series like House of Cards and Mindhunter. While I do like those shows, I really hope he gets back into filmmaking soon. And then finally, on the 1st, keep in mind, this is everything getting added on April 1st, and now we're gonna go through the month. But the last one I'm recommending on the 1st is another one that I have not seen, but Wildling is a horror, thriller, mystery thing that not only looks interesting, well, it does have mixed reviews, it has positive reviews, and it sounds like it's gonna be one of those interesting watches that maybe makes it into Netflix's new sort of top 10 feature. I'll be checking this one out early in the month as well. If I like it, it will be making it onto some upcoming video lists where I will explain what works about it and what doesn't. Okay, that is just the first, and there is plenty more coming in the month. Now, before getting on to the rest of the month, everything leaving in April, and some of the better things added in March, I'll tell you about CyberGhost VPN. Like all VPN services, they keep your web browsing secure, which means it keeps it private, it keeps it safe from people trying to steal your information. It's smart to invest in a good VPN. The thing that's different about CyberGhost is they have specialized servers that allow you to access Netflix in other countries, and there's different stuff on Netflix in other countries. Or if you're one of my UK viewers or you're in Australia, you can watch everything that I'm talking about in this video and all my videos for as low as $275 a month when you sign up with CyberGhost using the link in the description. They have a 45-day money-back guarantee, so it's virtually no risk except for the time it would take you to ask for a refund. They have great 24/7 customer support. It works on up to 7 devices simultaneously, and it works on Windows, Mac, your iPhone, Android, Linux, Fire Stick, Chrome, so you'll have no trouble using it, and I know a lot of you have been enjoying it as much as I have. So again, use the link in the description and you can sign up for as little as $275 a month and get more movies with your current Netflix subscription. But let's move on to the rest of April. On the 2nd, The Good, the Bad, and the Ugly gets added. Absolute classic, must watch. Everyone needs to see this movie. It is long, it's a little bit exhausting to watch, and it's not even my favorite Western. My favorite is still on Netflix. It is Once Upon a Time in the West, done by the same director. But The Good, the Bad, and the Ugly is a classic for a reason. It's absolutely fantastic. Very long watch, so if you got a long afternoon where you don't have anything going on, this would be a great pick. Now on the 3rd, I got a full confession. Money Heist Part 4 gets added. I have been sleeping on Money Heist. Everyone's talking about Money Heist. I hate the name of it, but I think it's just because it doesn't translate well. It looks so cool. Like the trailer for Part 4 looks incredible. I need to start at Part 1 and I need to binge it because it looks like it's right up my alley. If you've been enjoying it, they're adding Part 4 early in April. They're also doing sort of a Talking Dead style show about sort of the cultural phenomena that this show has become. I doubt I'll have time to watch that, but if you're really into the show, that's coming soon too.
Women scare the shit out of me. I mean, where do you even start?
Excuse me, my friend here would like to practice talking with a lady.
Tell me about yourself.
I was born and raised in Detroit, and I have an associate's degree in biology, and I'm studying to be a veterinarian.
How much you look at your...
No.
Coffee and Kareem is an action comedy starring Ed Helms and Taraji P. Henson. This one kind of looks like a mix between Cop and a Half and Stuber. It's actually done by the same director as Stuber. It should be fun, especially as far as Netflix original movies go. On April 4th, Angel Has Fallen is a somewhat new release movie getting added. It's the 3rd part of the trilogy from Olympus Has Fallen and London Has Fallen. In my opinion, it's as good as the others. If you've been debating on maybe canceling your Netflix subscription, I wouldn't hang on to it for this particular movie, but I do recommend it. It is worth watching. On the 5th, The Killing of a Sacred Deer gets added. I really like this movie, but I do not recommend it for everyone. It's one of those weird, twisted, just oddball movies. It's from the same director as Dogtooth, which not a ton of people saw, but also The Lobster, which more of you saw because it has been on Netflix for a while. Whereas The Lobster was more satirical and more comical, The Killing of a Sacred Deer is just dark and weird and creepy. It's got some amazing performances in it. To me, it felt like classic literature almost, like a Edgar Allan Poe style story. If you're into that, check this one out. If it sounds just too weird for you, trust me, it is. The Big Show Season 1 gets added. This is a new show featuring ex-wrestler The Big Show. I like him. I've seen him on talk shows. While I'm not a wrestling guy, I've always been interested in him. He seems like a very interesting character. I thought this was going to be a reality show about his family, and that had me interested, but it actually just looks like a pretty typical sitcom, and it's not for me, but fans of his will probably want to check this one out. Now, all of that stuff should tide you over for half the month, because now we're going to jump all the way ahead to April 14th for Chris D'Elia's new special, No Pain. He's one of my favorite comedians working today. I like his vibe. I listen to his podcast occasionally. I like the guy. I'm excited to see his new special. He's probably like in my top 5 of guys working today. Certainly top 10. Certainly top 10. Let's give him 6 or 7. He's like my 6th or 7th favorite comedian working today. Then on the 15th, The Innocence Files is a new docu-series, a true crime docu-series, and it is about innocent people in jail and sort of the non-profit that goes through all this trouble to get them out, to prove their innocence. This should be interesting. I think fans of Making a Murderer will be interested in this. April 16th brings Despicable Me. If you haven't seen it, it's probably not for you. I guess if you're a new parent and you never bothered to watch it, this is a fun one to watch with your kids. Hail Caesar also gets added. Coen Brothers comedy that's not nearly as good as their best comedies. It's also not a total piece of crap either. It's got a really great cast. On April 17th, Sergio is a new Netflix original movie about a famous UN diplomat amidst the US invasion of Iraq. Ana de Armas is in this, which is really all I need to know. This looks like a heavy drama, but I'm gonna be watching it because of her, because I'm a total f***ing pig. The Green Hornet gets added on April 18th. While no one really loved this movie, it's not that bad. It is pretty enjoyable. I may be watching this one again just because it was kind of fun. I don't remember loving it, and I don't remember not liking anything about it either. If you've never seen it, I would recommend it. I think it's gonna be worth watching.
Think about how great our family could be if they were gone.
How do you propose we discard of 2 insidious grown-ups?
Easy.
No!
No, not there. There.
April 22nd brings The Willoughbys, which is a major animated movie that's a Netflix original. It looks incredible. The visual style of this is great. It's got some great voice actors. It does look like it's gonna be a great watch with the family. Extraction is a action movie starring Chris Hemsworth. It's from a first-time director, but it's somebody who's a long-time stuntman in a lot of major movies, including all the Avengers movies. Hemsworth plays a black market mercenary, so it sounds interesting. We'll see if it's any good, but it certainly has some promise. On April 25th, they're adding The Artist. This one won Best Picture several years back. It's about an actor's career on the downslope in the middle of the silent era, and it is a silent movie. It's got some really amazing moments in it though. Don't let the silent movie element throw you off. This is made for modern audiences, so it's not like it's gonna feel necessarily like an old movie. It's gonna keep you engaged, it keeps moving. It's just a very interesting performance piece. I liked it a lot. I have only seen it the one time in the theater, but I may revisit it because I do remember really enjoying the vibe of this one. It's also kind of an uplifting, positive movie at times, so a great one to watch amid the quarantine situation. Hopefully though, we won't be under it anymore by the end of April when this drops on Netflix.
I think we all think the bag was a nice idea.
Yeah.
But not pointing any fingers, they could have been done better.
Same day, they're adding Django Unchained. I love this movie. Obviously, you know, I'm a Quentin Tarantino fan, but I saw this one twice in the theater, maybe 3 times, which I don't do often. I really like everything about it. While I don't think it's his best movie, I love the Western element of it. I think Leonardo DiCaprio got robbed in terms of not getting nominated for an Academy Award. I think this is some of his best work. And it's just entertaining from beginning to end. It's creative, it's clever, visually it's great. I really like everything about this one. I'm not particularly fond of the very ending, like the last 2 minutes of the movie, but it doesn't ruin it for me. It's just, I find it to be the weakest part of this 2.5 hour movie. I'll be watching it again, even though I own it. I'm sure I'm just gonna put it on and enjoy it. On April 26th, they're adding season 4 of The Last Kingdom. This is a Viking series that everyone has been talking about. Another one that I have not watched yet, but I'm very intrigued. If you have been watching it, I'm sure you're highly anticipating part 4. April 27th, they're adding Battle Los Angeles, which is a mediocre alien movie. If you sort of look at this as like an old school drive-in movie with modern special effects and style, it's pretty cool. If you try to look at it as like a great movie, you're gonna be disappointed. But if you can kind of have fun with an alien invasion movie, this one just feels a little different. It feels almost like Black Hawk Down at times, the way it was shot. I like that element of it. While it's not a great movie, it is a good watch. And that is it for everything getting added. But here is a list of everything leaving in the month of April. Pause the video if you need to. Pay attention to the date that it is leaving, because that is the date that it is gone, which means you need to watch it prior to the date listed here. If you wait till the date listed, you've missed it. And then before we go, some of my favorite things that were brand new or recently added in March. One was The Tiger King. This is another true crime docu-series about this crazy zoo owner in Texas. There's a lot of animal rights stuff wrapped up in this one, but there's a murder plot, there's a trial, there's all sorts of crazy stuff happening in addition to just this wild character of this Tiger King guy. I was riveted throughout the entire thing. I know this was one of the more popular things that Netflix added last month. Freaks was a theatrical release movie that they added, but it's a fairly recent release. I think it's only about 6 months old. I enjoyed this one a lot as well. I know a lot of you did too. I got a lot of comments on my videos about this one. Really great twists and turns in this sort of like, I don't even want to say what genre it is because it'll spoil it, but it is a mystery thriller, and I don't want to go any further than that. I also really enjoyed the platform. This is a Spanish language movie, but the English dubbing is not bad, so if you don't read subtitles, the English dubbing has good performances, but definitely try to watch it with the subtitles. It's the best way to watch a movie, that way you're getting the actual performances. But this has got like a sci-fi thing that is super trippy. The less you know about this one, the better, but I'm telling you, this one's really, really interesting. And then I liked Spencer Confidential. I didn't love it, but it's a fun Mark Wahlberg movie. I kind of thought it might be a crappy movie because it didn't go to the theaters, it came to Netflix, but it's a solid flick. I enjoyed it thoroughly. If you're a fan of his or you at least like his movies, this one's no exception. Let me know in the comments below what you are excited to watch in the month of April. Also, help me thank all these Patreon supporters. They give me that extra push that I need to get videos like this one and all the other ones I've been posting lately out, so you have them to thank for all of the recommendations that you've been getting. But I will keep making videos like this as long as you keep watching them. Thanks for watching this episode, and you will see me on the next one.